Dr. Aphra issue 35 sees Vore regale Aphra with her life story and how she was married off to a senator at the age of 18. The senator soon became an advisor in the Empire, and through his work, Vore saw that the Empire was hemorrhaging money thanks to its own expansion, so she spread rumors that Darth Vader suspected her husband of sedition, leading to him committing suicide. Because of this, the Emperor appointed Vore as the senator's successor, and soon she became the leader of the Coalition of Progress, manipulating the public into thinking who the real enemy is. Vore thinks that she has saved the regime and built it up to something great, but Palpatine is ruining everything with his genocides and super weapons, and he isn't really public friendly. Therefore, he's got to go. Vore says that the assassination will be done within the hour and followed by a coup. Valada thinks that they just can't kill the Emperor because he is, after all, the Emperor, and Aphra has to agree with it since he can sense actions before they happen. Vore knows that he can and probably will have an idea of what their scheme is. He even encourages schemes against him, but specific details of her plans and her removal of Palpatine he wouldn't know, since he could just sense it before it happens, and sense the rage and hate that comes with it, which is why Vore thought of a solution: Aphra, whom is too predictable, since she always seeks out her own enrichment and always thinks of herself first, and always betrays those she is surrounded by. Vore says that she knew about the rifle for years, but couldn't just send Aphra out to get it. She had to let the woman find it herself, knowing that she would be predictably greedy and go to the rebels with it. Valada wonders why they let her meet the rebels, and Vore says that Aphra knows them all too well, and even they know that she can't be trusted, and they knew that she would be hunted unless she could buy a pardon from the Empire, knowing that she would steal back the weapon, so they came up with a plan to fake a rebel super weapon. Vore says that the rebels could never build such a super weapon since they never had the resources, and they wouldn't do it anyway since it was not their way. She asks if Tolvan feigned ignorance to this all, revealing that she actually knew everything and was using Aphra, while Vore was using Tolvan. Vore says that the rifle will be near the Emperor now, and she couldn't commission a super weapon, but making it look like the rebels did is perfect, and Palpatine wouldn't expect a single thing, so the weapon will be booby-trapped to go off, destroying the palace, while Vore never lifted a finger. Aphra knows that it wouldn't be a bomb since that's too detectable, but maybe an ion pulse or a stun bomb with a synth crystal, so it only explodes in the presence of a force user. Vore says that it doesn't matter, and Aphra agrees it doesn't matter the plan, since if Palpatine is killed, Vore ends up winning. She is reminded how her mother thought that no matter who's in charge of today, they are just waiting to be pushed out by the next fanatic in line. Aphra wants to know what happens after Palpatine dies, knowing that Vore will manipulate the news to make it look like the rebels did it and appoint herself as the new leader. Vore is irritated that Aphra isn't surprised by all of this and wants to know how she knew her plan, and Aphra says that she never believed the super weapon story, and she knew Vore was up to something since Vader never got involved. The one thing that told her that this was all fake, however, was that Tolvan let her go too easily. Valada is lost, so Aphra tells her that everyone was using her, but she let them do it since this is the way that she was to get her pardon. She wants to know how Vore knew she wouldn't run with the weapon and hide, and Vore reveals a hologram of Aphra taking a blaster bolt for Valada, saying that it was this moment that she knew she wouldn't run since it was something unpredictable. Vore says that she sold out to save those who she loves, and Aphra is getting sentimental in her old age. Aphra says that her mother gave her much advice, but the piece of advice that she remembers the most is that you need to do right by the people you love. Vore thinks that that's a stupid idea, but Aphra knows that this is why her plan failed. Aphra says that she knows Palpatine will have been taken to safety and Vore's co-plotters will be rounded up and interrogated as the weapon is shot out of the sky before it can even land, and the rebels won't even show up since they already know that they got played, and they know this because they are watching this all unfold, as is everyone else on the planet, thanks to Aphra hijacking the camera Vore was using for the propaganda speech. Valada is shocked to learn that she saved the Emperor, and Aphra knows that it's questionable, as Vore demands to know why, and Aphra says that it was all because when she was busy gloating, she didn't even realize what she was showing Aphra in the museum. While walking through the museum, Aphra recognized the helmet of the raider who killed her mother, and knows it was actually used by the Imperials, who disguised themselves as Raider in order to subjugate the world. Aphra tearfully proclaims that Vore killed her mother, and Vore can't comprehend how she would do all of this out of revenge and throw away a chance at a bold new galaxy all for her mother. Aphra grabs Volata, telling her to stay in front of the camera since they saved the Emperor, and if they stay there they will be safe. Suddenly Vor is decapitated and Aphra tells the girl to close her eyes as Darth Vader arrives, telling Aphra to rise as the Empire needs her. Dr. Aphra issue 36 dived into the whole public relations propaganda story that the new characters like Vor are introducing. It's so cool we get stuff like this talked about in depth in a comic and explored more, since it's a really interesting part of the Empire that we never really see in the films. We get hints at it but not really see it in action. The one thing I loved was the explanation of Aphra always doing the same thing, which is something I've criticized in the past about the book, how she always does sort of the same thing. She betrays the people then makes up to it, and because of that the Empire was able to capture her. It's cool and a little meta something like that gets used in the story. All the signs are pointing to this super weapon story coming to an end either next issue or the issue after that, with Vor getting murdered and Aphra getting a revenge for her mother's death, so I'm excited to see what becomes of Aphra as she returns to Darth Vader's service. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.